are busy with your preparation for prelim and mains according to your own plan. But in between, to support you, help you further, we keep adding input through video lectures and also classroom lectures, so that you get some new insight, some new information and new way to look at the subjects that you are reading or you are preparing for. Today's subject is self-help group, and you know that in general studies, question very often comes from GS2's self-help group area, microfinance, self-help group, women's empowerment related to their trade and commerce engagements. So actually these are all SHG or self-help group related questions. So I am just dealing with that as simpler way as possible. So I am S.N. Chakravarti. I deal with GS2, that is called polity paper for mains, and this subject is microfinance and SHG. Okay. Now there is a great person on this called Ila Bhatt, who is the founder of Seva, Ahmedabad. You know that Seva's papad, okay, is very, very famous, and that has come up through self-help group initiatives. She says that it is women who are leaders in charge, and without their participation, poverty can never be removed. So two things we find here, that women are the leaders in change, and poverty cannot be removed without women's participation. And that women's participation to eradicate poverty occurs through SHG initiative. And that is where the significance of SHG and microfinance lies. What is then microfinance? Okay, microfinance is it's a way to provide loans, credit, okay, insurance, access to savings account, and money transfer to small business owners. Basically, microfinance is in micro enterprises. It tries to promote, support, encourage economic enterprises at a very micro level, very small level of small amount by small people. It enables poor to have access, okay, to loan or other financial support, because poor don't get loan and financial support because they don't have that easy access to financial institutions. So this is where microfinance does or plays a great role, very great contribution they make. So that is called, they do it in three ways. Microfinance works in three ways. One is called micro loan, second is micro saving, and third is micro insurance. Okay, so please remember it: micro loan, micro saving, and micro insurance. And what is important is that whenever you are taking loan, you'll have to give some guarantee, which is called collateral. Okay, lot of paperwork, lot of other things, but this microfinance initiative is collateral free. That means you don't require those procedures which otherwise somebody would require if they take a housing loan or a business development loan or a car loan. Those kind of collaterals are not required here, and primarily aims at poor, low income. Microfinance main target group is poor, those people who cannot mobilize fund to start a big business. So their whole aim is small business, small earnings, so that they come out of their poverty level, okay, or extreme, financial crisis position they can address. This is where microfinance actually works. That is why it is called an anti-poverty vaccine, okay. And it is a public-private initiative. Since the financial institution mobilizes money, that is basically government, and other side is private individuals. Okay, so that is why it is one form of PPP, public-private partnership. So this is what is the beauty of it. And there is a person called Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh, who is an economist. He got Nobel Prize because through Grameen Bank of Bangladesh, he first made an experiment and it became so successful. And what it is, rural women's access to productive resources, markets, finances and credit. So that is what he experimented and it became successful. That is how in the mid-70s, okay, his experiments gave us hope that this may be possible. And later on in India, there are plenty of models have developed. Of them, definitely Seva is a very, very lead model. And then there is another model called Working Women's Forum, that is in Chennai. So you see that all India, Ahmedabad is Western India, then Chennai, Southern India, then Holy Cross Social Service Center, Hazaribagh, Bihar is Eastern India, and Delhi is the Northern India. Okay, Gunj. All these, various initiatives. I have just given 4, but there can be dozens of them. Okay, they made it successful in India. So that is what has happened on this microfinance. Microfinance is, it is manifested through self-help groups initiatives. Now what happens? Its key objectives. Okay, key objectives are number of key objectives, and that is what you require when you are writing. If you can write some of the objectives categorically, that definitely impresses the examiner better. To establish a forum in which women can critically analyze their situation and devise collective strategies to solve their problems. Okay. Again, you read little slowly. Establish a forum, a platform in which women can critically analyze their situation. Women themselves will analyze and devise collective strategies. Not only they will analyze, but they will also find a solution to them of their problems. To provide a vehicle for promotion of economic activities. Basically, this is for economic activities and economic self for better living. Basically, microfinance and self-help group is primarily for economic activities, not exclusively for economic activities. Be careful about that. Exclusively it is not for economic activities, but primarily it is for economic activities, and to establish gender equality in society. 4 is to develop social status in family and society. You see that not only economic but also social status they try to bring up through these economic activities, and also they want to establish or achieve a greater gender equality in society. So these things have to be kept in mind. There are some other objectives. Okay. That is to encourage poor women to save. Basically, this whole microfinance SHG is poor women centric or poor women focused. And then to reduce dependency on money lenders, okay, because money lenders will give lot of, will take lot of interest on their money, and that is very uneven agreement with the borrowers. So SHG and microfinance tries to, enter into that area and to free them from the clutches of the private money lenders, and to build up savings as old age security for women. And not only that, it also widens the social security provision, social security facilities for women. So these are all various objectives of women. I believe you can recall them and then write in your own language, and it will come out very well. Now, what is then SHG? SHG is basically an informal group. It doesn't require always a registration. It just 15-20 women, they come together and they can start an SHG. They just mobilize their initial fund, and that fund will be the seed money, and from there they will take off. So relend in the group, and then that money will be going as loan to the members. They will be paying back the loan, and they will be taking initiative to do some business, maybe a vegetable shop, maybe anything small one, okay, and that money will come back with interest, very minor interest, and that interest is not for any individual consumption. That will again be collective benefit, and that way the money will grow, and then the other support from the external financial institutions will come to further inflate or increase the total volume of the stock there. Autonomous organization, it is autonomous, which are formed through the savings of the group members. Small, informal, homogeneous groups, or not more than 20. This is a small group, okay, that is very informal. Okay, so that is the basic character of any SHG. If it becomes too formal, then it loses the character of SHG and it becomes a society. It is not really a registered society, but an SHG can register also itself. People from economically backward classes and SC/ST community account for a sizable proportion of SHG membership. That means those who are marginalized, those who are vulnerable, those who are backward, those who have various crises to come forward, they come in large number to SHG to see that if there can be a hope of to make financial stability in their life. Since it is recognized by the government and does not require any formal registration. So it doesn't require any formal registration, does not require any recognition, and the purpose of the SHG is to build the functional capacity of the poor, because they will maintain their account, they will count their money, they will maintain their register, so that way they will become empowered, they will become capable. Okay, and also they will take that money to the market and do business. So they will also perform as an enterpriser there in the market. They will deal with market. So a lot of mixed up capabilities will be, or multi-dimensional capabilities will be acquired by the women who are in SHG groups. And people are responsible for their own future by organizing themselves into SHG. And the moment some women come into SHGs means that they want to build up their own future. They don't want to leave their future to somebody's hand, but they want to take control of it. Okay, so this is what is the beauty of SHG, or you can say significance of SHG. Now, more or less, what is the group size? Okay, group size is always small, as I said. It should be 10, 15, 20, not beyond that. Then it becomes a crowd. If there is more, then there will be a second group. So there will be a common fund. The group members will first mobilize some fund. It can be even minimum 100 rupees, 50 rupees. So that will be the seed money. From there it will further grow. And then elected positions. There are 3 elected positions. One is president, one is treasurer, and a secretary. Okay. So these are the elected members. Among them, very informal way of electing them, and they will be given responsibility for a certain period, not for the huge, long period, but a small, maybe 1 or 2 years period. After that, there will be rotational changes in them. The amount of money deposited by the members and the frequency it can be, they can give money frequently, means weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, whatever is convenient for the groups. Okay, it's not that sometimes when it becomes every day they will give 1 rupee. Okay, at the end of the market they will give 1 rupee. Somebody will go and collect that 15 rupees from 15 women. So that way 1 rupee means 30 rupees in a month, 2 rupees means 60 rupees in a month, 3 rupees means 100 rupees a month. But when you are giving 3 rupees, it looks very small, but at the end of the month it becomes 100 rupees. So this is how they develop their seed money or their basic savings or stock. Then all the 15 members are supposed to come. Okay, that means that is a mutual date on which they will meet in one of the houses or one of the common places, and then rules they set for giving loan. That means we have 1500 we have got from 15 women. Now one person will get 1500 or two persons will get 1500, that they will decide. If two persons are getting, then definitely 750, 750. If one person is getting, then 1500. Okay, so if number of people who will take that money as loan are more, then definitely the ratio or share of that, or the total amount of that loan will come down. If it is number of is less, then amount will go up. All these rules will be set by the women there. What will be the interest rate? Okay, and what will be the frequency of return, how they will repay the loan, all these things will be set by them informally. Okay, and also if somebody does not pay regularly, then there will be some punitive action, further penalty on them. Then documentation, at least you should have, because it's a financial transaction, so all the members' signature, what is decision, and then who have taken loan, all these things should be maintained. So a number of registered have to be maintained. That means some of the women have to have a minimum literacy level. Okay, so these are the things which are definitely essential for any SHG to function. Now, the SHG does not come on their own. They don't come on their own, because government also has a policy to promote the SHG and microfinance in our society. What are these? Since independence, government at different times introduced different kind of anti-poverty programs, and this SHG is also one, or microfinance is also one of the anti-poverty programs. So earlier there are many programs like IRDP, Trism, Dwaka, Sitra, and then they have merged all these programs, and then in 1999 it became Sarnajanti Gram Sarojgar Yojana. So since 1999, all these other programs have been absorbed within SGSY, Sarnajanti Gram Sarojgar Yojana. And it is mainly implemented through DRDA, that means District Rural Development Agency or Authority, and PRI, Panchayati Raj institutions. NABARD is the main financial institution. It's called National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. That is specifically dedicated for promoting microfinance and rural development. Okay, so therefore they have a big role to play in seeing that SHG initiative is strengthened in the country, and they do it in two ways. One is micro enterprise development program. So one way it promotes enterprises, micro, small one. Other side is livelihood enterprise development program. So one is business development program, another is livelihood development program. Livelihood means where you can earn money, which may not be an enterprise, but still you are getting a livelihood, you are getting a way to earn money. So these two ways, NABARD finally helps these initiative, anti-poverty initiative, to go further forward. Impact of SHG is far-reaching, huge impact. Okay, it has multiple level of impact or multi-dimensional impact. One impact is in family. Since women are talking on them, they have some financial capability, earning, they deal with money. So therefore their participation in the decision making in family matters that goes up. And then they decide better about or more on their reproductive health, that what will be the space of children. All these things they have a say now, and then they take interest in children's education. Always the moment women get money, first thing that they will do, they will see that children go to school. Okay, and daughters' marriage don't take place early, because they know that early marriage has a huge negative bearing, impact in a woman's life. So therefore they will try to delay daughters' marriage, and they will try to give education to their children as much as possible. These two major changes come, and also food intake in those families will further go up. And then there will be still gender budgeting. Gender budgeting means they will see that food comes, okay, food is in place, and then women's requirements are looked after. Okay, so a more gender oriented budgeting in those families have been seen is taking place. Then the public life, since they are going to public, they are leaving their cozy private captivity and going to public life, and so they learn that they also can deal with greater public life. Therefore, what happened, they don't remain within their traditional engagement, but also go to market, because they then learn how to deal with market. So their behavioral changes take place, and they better control of their labor. Those who work there, they know how to gain, how to bargain, how to engage with the employer. They learn it, or how to, when they are in enterprise, how to deal with the other trade partners, stakeholders. Then feel relatively free to move and interact with officials. Okay, so panchayats, other BDO officials or other officials, they feel they can go and deal, they feel more comfortable in public life, and that has a huge impact. And then assume leadership positions. Okay, and in certain cases they even take initiative, and that is how many of these SHGs finally have gone to small social movements in their respective areas, anti-liquor movement, forest, safe forest movement, various movement, or anti women's harassment movement, all kind of things they have gone through. Then monitor functioning of Anganwadi and primary health care. You know that Anganwadi is basically for children, and primary health care is basically for the mother and the child care. So therefore they take a lot of interest about ASHA, about Anganwadi workers, about midday meal, what kind of food, how much vegetable is there, how much nutrition is there. So whether children are going there. So their interest slowly, not that overnight, but slowly it increases. Okay, so this is how the changes in public life of women is also evident through SHGs. These are impacts. Then economic life. SHG women have ventured into non-traditional task of marketing. Okay, so as I said, because they will be taking new initiative. If somebody goes for paper making, they will deal with grocery shops and other shops that how to sell those papers. Okay, how to procure raw materials. Okay, all these things, how to procure, how to deal with the transportation system. They have better control over their labor. They will see that whatever labor I am giving, that gives return, and then they feel relatively interact with the officials which are related to their trade and commerce. And then diverse livelihood entrepreneurship, such as taking land, a water body. Sometimes they take a pond, a water tank, or they take a land, and the SHG takes initiative for pisciculture or fishing, or to grow some vegetables there. Then they sell it to the market. They talk to the market people there. All kind of things they do. And purchase of nursery and selling of the plants. Sometimes they engage into wherever it is possible, according to this context, according to the place. If there is a nursery culture, they will take a land, promote nursery plants, and then they will sell it. And then goat and poultry farming, that also sometimes they take sometime. Poultry and goat is very frequent in those areas where it is very common. And they take it both individually and collectively. And finally what happens, they also open their own bank accounts in the regular banks like State Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, Punjab National Bank. So not only SHG, but also they start developing their own savings account in regular banks. So that way they become part of the banking system or financial system of the country. So those women were never even thought about it. Okay, this is how they enter into it. So then they start accumulating money there. That money they use for their children's higher education or daughter's marriage or reconstruction, renovation of their houses, to meet future crises, all kind of things they do. So that way they become more vocal, they become more participatory, and they have a say in the family, society, decision making process. Then political life. Since they assume leadership, then they start talking about what is good, what is bad happening in there, whether water supply is enough or not, whether road construction is there, whether school has toilet facilities or not, whether school is running properly, Anganwadi. So on the political discourse, on the political discourse, they slowly take part, they take interest, they discuss in their group, and they also discuss with the political personalities of their areas. And sometimes many, and not only sometimes, many instances are there whether women have gone to contest panchayat elections or other municipality elections, and they won, and they became the people's representatives that way. And then executive function as members and chief of local government bodies, because sometimes that particular seat may be pradhan, a panchayat pradhan seat may be reserved for women. So therefore a woman becomes pradhan, and then he or she executes the role of the pradhan. All kind of examples are there. So these are all good impacts. Then assert collective protest on socio-political issues, as I said, anti-Lika movement, environmental movement. Then school should be regular. Then if there is a child marriage, they jump into it. If there is any harassment to women, they go agitate in police station. All kind of things they start doing collectively. So the women are not only in though they started for financial gain, but slowly their social and cultural participation engagement also gets enhanced. According to NABARD report, the status of microfinance India in 2020-21, because this is the latest report, so you can easily refer to it, and there are over 13.8 crore families benefited through SHGs. 13 crore out of 130 crore is more than 10% people. They are engaged. So 10% families are in SHG, and over 112 lakh SHGs are operative in the country. 112 lakh. And if you just multiply it by 12 or 15 or 20 people, members, and then you see that how many people are really, engaged in this thing. So that way you can say over 70 years it is really a success story for India. And then with deposit of over 37,477, there are 40,000 crore SHG, contribute to your country's economy. So that much they accumulate. So it's a huge amount. And then it is NABARD report. Therefore, you can really say it is authentic report. And NABARD links SHGs with bank through SHG bank linkage program. Now, what is the role of this DRDA SHG PRI? Is to link SHG with bank, because SHGs are informal, they don't have registration, so they are not legal person, or they don't have legal recognition. Now PRI and NABARD, DRDA, they come in between and they create the bridge between financial institution and the SHGs. That way, that if then they make a condition, if SHG gives 25% or 50%, then we will give 50%. So that way 100% comes. So you give 25%, we will give 70%. You give 30%, we will give 70%. So that way they make a matching contribution, and through that, the overall, financial stock or financial capacity of the SHGs that grow. And these linkages, they become actually the collateral. Because otherwise there is no collateral, they remain in between, and then they make it sure that the money goes back, and it is proved that in spite of non-registered, in spite of a non-legal entity, SHGs, actually majority of the SHGs repay money regularly, and majority of the members of SHG also repay to their respective SHG whatever loan they take at regular intervals. Defaulters are very less. Not that people are taking money and running away. No, that is not the case for the poor people, and that is to be recognized, that poor people are not so easily dishonest. So now what are the challenges? No, all these are good things, okay, all these are very nice fragrance, but that doesn't mean that everything is so nice. There are also problems, there are also challenges, there are also certain lacunas, shortcomings which need to be paid attention, like in most of the cases it is found that women are too occupied with their financial thing, they hardly discuss about social and cultural issues unless it comes on them. But cultural and social awareness, okay, which should be a part of it, sometimes it is found they neglect. Okay, and the micro debt is increasing. Okay, as I said that though they pay regularly, but it is found that in many places whenever there is a monitoring problem, monitoring gap, the repayment is not very regular. So repayment should be further streamlined, because if repayment goes too much for a poor woman or poor family, then they will have no other way but to surrender. That means they will have to get humiliated or a kind of unofficially bankrupt position. So these are the risky areas. So micro debt is increasing. Then women's collective empowerment is often not in focus. So it is basic thing is that these women will come and they will also become a power in society, power in locality. Sometimes that is not taking place. Okay, they are too occupied only in their financial calculation, estimation, accounting. That is not the only objective of SHG or microfinance. That is what not Ilavat or Muhammad Yunus tried to do or aim to do. Then sometimes what happened, though basically it is said that this should be for the poor women, but finally it is found even within that there is a caste division, even within that there is a religion division, even within that there is an ethnic division. Now this is not expected. Now poor is poor, okay, so it should be across caste, it should be across religion, it should be across ethnic identities, but sometimes those things are not taking place. So within that again a social division is actually making women divided. So these are also the areas need serious attention. SHG to be formed of rural poor such as the landless labor, educated and unemployed, rural artisans and disabled persons really do not occur in reality. Okay, though it was originally found, it will be only for the poor. Okay, basically poor people's initiative for getting rid of poverty or extreme poverty, but sometimes it is not taking place. And many of the well-off women are taking advantage of. They are starting this kind of initiatives. Then learning towards less profitable and conventional trade engagement, leaning towards less, like so for example, if a woman learns making papad or a tailoring, or those kind of things which has hardly any market, it is a very small market. But today's digital world, today's e-trade facilities can give them huge opportunities. So therefore, women also should come out of their only traditional pattern of selecting occupation. They should also venture into new challenging occupation, taking advantage of digital world and e-trade, e-commerce. So these are the areas where gaps are found. Then market suitable trade engagement is limited. Okay, they are still doing same thing, vegetable selling, fish selling, but today's thing has so many new opportunities are there, but women are really not, these SHGs are not really entering into that very effectively. These are the areas need to get more attention. Then Gram Sabha is said to form the basis for identification of families belonging to BPL. Gram Sabha should be the foundation where it will be discussed that who are the most poor families, who are most poor marginalized groups. But really Gram Sabha is unable to take that role. Therefore Gram Sabha is doing its own business and SHGs are coming up in their own way. So there is a mismatch between these two, and this should be minimized. Then well-to-do families of rural areas are getting the benefits of this scheme. Lot of well-to-do families who are no way nearer to poverty, they are taking huge interest because they found that, okay, it is, they are making it like a kitty party. Okay, so this is not the actual, initiative. That doesn't mean that women of well-off families cannot do an SHG. They can do, okay, but definitely its basic focus is for poor families. So, but that way sometimes some wrong reports, wrong in examples also come. One should look into. Then, as social mobilization was not given sufficient attention, because of which women do not know the concept of SHG, and it is found that women are engaged in SHG for a number of years, but still they don't know that why microfinance and SHG are their country, what is objective, what it meant for. That means there is no awareness building, there is no enlightenment process, okay, really taking place in SHG. It becomes merely a transactional meeting rather than awareness building also. But original idea is that it will have definitely primary focus finance, but there will be lot of other components, that is social, cultural areas also, but that way there is a gap, and I believe this needs to be really looked into. This is my brief presentation. I believe you have got an idea. Definitely I will come back again on the same subject elaborately to discuss with you, but for the time being let us stop here. Thank you very much.